Looking back on my boyhood and adolescence in South Texas, I spent an incredible amount of time in gas stations, honky-tonks, and other off-the-beaten-path places trying to appear cool, while obsessively following the descent of a steel ball down the playing surface of a garishly lit machine, a pinball machine.
I came in with my grandfather standing on pop crates to play the pinball machines.
I think I was about 8 years old. I used to hang out at the corner store, and my parents were always looking for me.
I would go away with my grandparents every summer, and they'd say, hey, you're in the arcade, here's a roll of quarters, go have fun.
All these backlot mom and pop stores and everything had 1 or 2 pinball machines in them.
Apartment houses would have them in the laundry rooms. If you had a gas station where they weren't doing car repair anymore, they'd take the service bays and fill them with pinball machines.
Playing at our local bowling alley was the place where parents told you not to go.
I guess it was the kind of age when you don't want to do things with your parents.
My parents used to think I was going to church Sunday mornings and I'd be at the local hangout playing pinballs.
I also remember my father dragging me out by my ear saying that I spent too much money.
I used to sneak down there without telling anybody and on my own and practice like crazy.
There's probably a crowd hanging around a pinball machine and we used to have to wait to play and line up your coin and you'd know which one was your coin.
I started playing at the local cafe, took my books to study there.
It's a great break from studying. Sometimes it replaced studying.
I used to steal pop bottles from in back of the gas station and trade them in for 3 cents. And when I had enough dimes to go play pinball, I would wander all over town just putting dimes in pinball machines.
On a Saturday afternoon, I'd run it up to the highest amount you could win, which was about 15 games. I would sell them for 50 cents, sell them 12 games, tell them to leave me 3. They'd lose them in about 30 minutes. They'd leave me 3, I'd run it back up to 15 again, sell them again. That's how we spent a Saturday afternoon.
If you say pinball, people are like, what? Or what's that?
I mean, there are many kids today that don't know what a pinball machine is.
If you were growing up in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you could go to the movies, you could listen to the radio and music, and you could play pinball. And now, here we are 20 years later, and if you wanted to relive a song that you remember from your youth, you can put it on your iPod. If you remember a movie that you particularly liked as a kid, you can get the DVD of it. But when it comes to pinball, since it only exists in the real world and can't be digitally duplicated, there is no place to play pinball, and yet in everybody's mind, they remember those games from their youth, and they come in here and they see something that they haven't seen in 25 years, something that was a major part of their youth. You know, the first time I kissed a girl, I was playing this machine. And they see that and they just get this look on their face of pure nostalgia. Kids today don't really understand pinball. They come in looking for the Dance Dance Revolution machine or the fighting video game or the really fast driving game, and all they see are these pokey, slow old pinball machines that just go bing, 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 and they don't understand it. You look around here, all you see is old farts. You don't see, you know, the kids that were playing pinball when I was growing up.
I mean, the kids today are just, you know, they're between the computer games and the home games and the Nintendos and the Sega systems and Game Boys, and they just won't play pinball.
I can remember when I was growing up, we used to eat all our meals at home, and we used to go out for entertainment. You know, we'd go to the movies, we'd go bowling, we'd go outside the house to have our entertainment, and now everybody eats out. Everybody always goes to restaurants. They don't cook at home very much, but they get all their entertainment at home through their big screen theater room or their game room that they've got in the basement. Public places of amusement have been falling by the wayside in America like crazy.
You can't find a pinball machine. I mean, most arcades, there's no pinball machine. There's no more arcades in malls in most cases, even bars. I mean, all the bars today have a Mega Touch, a jukebox, and a pool table, but no more pinballs. I mean, very, 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 very few.
Pinball is finished in France. In England, it's finished long time ago. Right? In Italy, you can't find one pinball. In Germany, no one pinball. In Holland, no pinball. Even in Belgium, it was a pinball paradise. No pinball. It's finished.
They said pinball was dead. It's not.
I was very surprised that other people were like this. I thought we were just crazy. It started one.
Buy another one.
And then another one.
And like 4.
And I was outgrowing the family room.
So I'd buy 20 here, 30 here.
And then your wife starts to say, what's going on here?
I got enough. No.
Yes.
No.
60 games.
350 or so.
400. Close to 600.
1,600.
It was a very rapid decline into obsession, I think.
Come on this way. Show you some more. We have about 150 in here. Once you get the lure of the silver ball in you, it's like an addiction and you just can't stop. And I just kept, you know, it's like you got to have them all because they're all just beautiful pieces of art. You remember buying every one, where you got it from. One time, you know, when my addiction was really bad, I bought a barbed wire on eBay. I thought it was a great deal. I thought, gee, you know, what am I doing? This is crazy to drive 4 hours to go get a pinball machine. And just as I'm thinking, maybe I'm not gonna do this, you know, Pinball Wizard comes on the radio and I thought, nope, I'm going, you know, and it was like my longest haul. It was like, you know, 26 hours later, I'm finally home, exhausted. Ended up coming home with 3 machines. They're up on this upper deck. This was the first little deck that I built to get some room. Pinball machines seem to be alive. They really don't seem to be machines. When you're playing, they're almost like they're alive. And the way they talk to you, you find yourself talking to it, you know.
Extra ball.
Sometimes I just come in to look at them. You don't even have to play them. You just come in and just admire them. It's just a tribute to man's creativity, I'll tell you.
This was like a little guest bedroom, but it's I had to squeeze more pins in here.
My theme, though, I kind of have always dreamed it might happen, but I really want to do the passion. You know, people say you're crazy, but see, I have a back. I was a youth pastor, and so I love the Lord, and I just can picture the passion play in a pinball machine.
Hallelujah, the ball is saved.
All my life, it was pinball. This is a very good game. When I am with the pinball, I look the pinball, everything, I am in love. It's my life. It's better to run, it's better to collect pinball than to take cocaine. Yes? Like some people. Or to spend the money to drink. Or to eat. I don't like to eat. I like pinball. Pinball and girls. But girls is finished. I will not sell one. I like them all. But it's like my children. I like some of my children better than the other. Of course.
We're in the area that actually enjoyed pinball, and we all kind of sort of hooked up, and the heart of the group plays every Thursday, and they don't miss.
Gas in my truck. I mean, look at this guy. Take a look at these people. That's all they care about is pinball. I got girls, I got dates, I go to concerts. Wait a minute.
You meet all these people that are into it, and they'll all come over, and you have a big party every week.
But Steve's still kind of the center. He's kind of like the... He's the leader.
Yeah, it wasn't for Steve.
1972, my dad bought one for my room, and I was like, I'll do my homework forever. If I have a pinball machine, of course, that probably didn't work out. From there on, it just got pretty wicked, you know. Now I've had 70. I think I'm down around 50 now, but I've got them in every room of my house. We have a New York Jets pinball machine. And in here we have Maverick, which is a Western-themed Mel Gibson. Okay, now we're in another room of this crazy house. We're in the pinball dungeon, which actually is being sold because I need to make room. And in here we have some more pinball machines, surprise. We call this our pirate shed because we have a bar in the back that's pirate themed.
I never knew you could own your own pinball machine. I mean, as soon as I found out that, then that's when my whole life changed. I mean, you'd see my bedroom, at times I have 14 pinball machines. The things I like, I'm very obsessive. And I'm a perfectionist. These are the barrels from Jaws. So if I collect something, whether it be pinball machines, Jaws memorabilia, I think I gotta have it all. Like it says, I want to rock and roll all night and party every day.
It was during the depths of the Depression, the late 20s, early 30s, where the coin-operated amusement game industry kind of got birth. Out of that came pin games. It literally was a name because there were various pins that were hammered into a wood surface using a little ball, and here's the track. The games wound up evolving, if you will, in the 1930s. Companies just mushroomed out of nowhere, most of them located in Chicago. The end of the 1930s, beginning of the 1940s, there is an overproliferation of games literally everywhere, and there becomes an outcry. Children are spending their lunch money, it's everywhere, we have to outlaw it, we have to regulate it, we can't control it.
In Chicago, scores of confiscated pinball machines get a police escort to their journey's end. They've had this coming for a long time.
It was seen as a game of gambling, and there was a group of machines created that were payout machines, so there was some relevance to that, but by and large, the majority of product that was out there was for amusement only. In the case of New York City, Chicago, and Los Angeles being three major metropolitan areas, as well as other areas around the United States, pinball was banned.
It was this one, Humpty Dumpty. This was the first pinball with flipper.
I've seen so many changes in pin games, but when those 6 flippers came out on Humpty Dumpty, I said, I gotta do something like that. But me, I was always taught never to put too much money into a game. I ain't gonna put no 6 flippers on my game. So I put 2 of them, and I put them at the bottom of the game, and that's approximately where they've been ever since, and that makes me feel very, very, very good. When we put flippers on the game, you got a tremendous amount of skill into the game. Before that, it was nothing but chance. You were lucky. You push the game, kick the game in order to get the ball to go where you wanted to go. But when the flippers were there, now you get a certain amount of skill.
Gottlieb ruled in the 50s and 60s. They were coming out with new machines like every 3 weeks.
Generally speaking, the pinball arcade, which then kind of turned into the video game arcade, was the sort of logical descendant of the coffee bar. It's very hard to remember this, but in the 60s, coffee was considered the major social threat, because they were thought of as places where kids got hyped up and then they acted out in some sort of manic way. Boys were thought to be flirting with waitresses, and waitresses sort of hopped up on coffee, were jumping on the tables and dancing.
Before the city council in April of 1976, I was enlisted, if you will, by the New York State Association to testify. Offered whatever expert testimony I could, as well as a demonstration of pinball being a game of skill, as opposed to a game of chance. Suddenly, you could find pinball machines legally.
We were rock and roll in the 70s.
Business was booming.
Profit margins were huge.
Unbelievable.
Demand was sky high. Distributors were ordering it by the truckload.
When we started solid-state electronics and pinball machines, we were on the leading edge of technology.
I mean, it was an incredible cross-section at that time of people playing pinball.
Diana Ross, Paul Simon, Reed, Matthew Broderick, studio musicians, politicians coming in. Limo pulls up and these four crazy-looking guys come out and, you know, it's Kiss.
Very nice people are coming here. Matter of fact, you'll find business people coming here. You'll find musicians from the shows, managers from the different restaurants, and the regular Broadway crowd.
The thing I'm the most proud of is the fact that we created this environment where you would have different social stratas all coming in, standing next to each other, playing and interacting with each other, and walking out and going their separate ways, never to really meet anywhere else, you know. But in the arcade, this was sort of an environment that allowed a diverse amount of different people to come.
Kids always want some place to go, something to do. And at that point in time, there wasn't a lot of options for that teenager, whether it was just pre-getting their driver's license. So, you know, their lifestyle had to be within walking distance or a bicycle ride or something. And I think that's what gave growth to the arcade business. Arcades had this air of certainly not approved by your parents, naughty or whatever, because they could go in there and they could smoke. It was usually dark. You could kind of do what you wanted to do. Now, it was a very male crowd.
It was all young males, 14 to 25. It wasn't like going to a Walt Disney movie where, you know, the whole family could go along and feel happy about it. It was more like hanging out with your friends, doing bad things.
I think at that time it was considered rebellious. I think this was a bit of a funds type activity of sort of downward mobility, wasting time, developing highly refined skills in an area that was going to be relatively useless in adult life.
Half of all our production went over into Western Europe. Container loads of games.
I was astounded to find out that the first runs of games, even in the heyday, went to Europe instead of the United States. The market was bigger in Europe.
And at that time, I think the pinball machine was highly Americanized, and people were proud of that, proud to have, in a French bistro in Paris, an American machine.
Everything came from the United States at that time, go in success, because people mentality is, United States is paradise of the world. And everybody understood the language of pinball. Game over, tilt, special target, you know.
What is it that makes you stop and play one machine? What makes you think, oh, I'm going to put my money in this one? And so you come up with rock and roll, you come up with sex, you come up with all the things that young teenage boys wanted to be.
I mean, you can look at the art. It's definitely something that's pitched towards young males. There's not really a lot of female-friendly images on these. Part of the adolescent male fantasy is, you know, guns, women with large breasts, magic spells, any violent, misogynist thing you want is there on pinball.
A lot of these machines have love scenes on them.
You don't suppose there's any connection there?
I'm not in the supposing business. What do you think?
Well, I don't know if you've ever followed the motions of people's bodies while they're playing, but you might be able to draw a connection there.
You'd have those, you know, centerfold images of young, rather buxom ladies, usually blonde, staring out of the machine at you to inspire you.
It's a sexual release. I really don't understand why there. But you believe it is? Oh, I know it is. No question about it. Sexually frustrated people play pinball a lot.
And that's sort of captured in that noise that's made when you win a free game. You know, there's that clunk noise, which is supposed to alert everybody in the environment that you are you know, you are the man. And if you can do it repeatedly or get clunk, clunk, you know, everybody's like notices that, and they, even if they don't show it, their admiration for you increases.
Guy has a hot ball and it's just flying, and you know, you're getting ready to become ruler of the universe or something. You might have been playing by yourself and not too many people watching, but when they start hearing those sounds, then all of a sudden you'll see people gather around to see that great ending of that, you know, ball.
I knew you'd come back.
Number 174 with a circle. It says Williams Perky, 10/24/56. Well, it's been in my blood since I was 12 and I'm 59, so pretty major. Should have known right away that I was going to be a collector, and I didn't start collecting until I bought this house in 1976. And the first game in my collection is my favorite game of all time, Gottlieb Slick Chick, April of '63. It's in my bedroom up right now. It's been up since I started my collection, and it's never gone down. I have a kind of my, what I call my Bible. Whenever I go to shows, and I've been doing that for a long time, I always copy down serial numbers, and I have a binder that I've hand-typed since I don't do computers yet. To me, I think it would be interesting. I have 300 games where they were at one time. Egghead, Flipper Clown, Tropical, Fashion Show, Cover Girl. Were they in Joe's Bar and Grill or somewhere down the street or at a show? Or I have a column for the date, the game number, the players, notes. It's because 10 years from now, I think people would like to know where their Twilight Zone was or their Addams Family or whatever game it happens to be. It's interesting to me. I worked in the bowling industry for a lot of years, and the last bowling alley I worked at closed down like 12 years ago, and so I get up and work on my collection every day. I'm in it for the history of it, too. That's why I collect flyers. That's why I collect what they call press photos. Spider-Man, Circus, they're chronological. That's all my, up here, all my photo albums. I have about 6,000 pinball negatives. This is Bally parts catalogs, and then this over here is schematics. There's a lot of games are missing scorecards. How they get lost over the years, it's hard to believe, but they do. I have 11 comic book boxes full of scorecards. In the front closet, there's lots of binders in there also. I was blessed with an unbelievable memory. I mean, records, pinballs, jokes. Did you hear about the Polish carpoolers? They all met at work. Isn't that good? This front bedroom has 26 wood rail pinball bodies, all stacked 24 and 2, and approximately 250 back glasses. Isn't that awesome? I really don't think about what it's worth because I really don't want to sell it. I want to play them. I want them to play like they did when they were coming out of the factory. That's why I spend the 40 hours and do the job right. Rebuild the bumpers, rebuild the pop bumpers, and rebuild the slingshots, and rebuild the flippers. A lot of work, and when you're done and you turn it on and it doesn't blow up, you feel real good. I sort my parts out of the parts catalog by part number. You never know when somebody's going to need something. I really need more room. I'm a people person. I like people. When I worked, it really wasn't work. I look forward to seeing these people on Monday, and these people on Tuesday, and these people on Wednesday. And I never had any brothers or sisters. I was an only child. And My mom and my real dad got married and divorced twice. And they say it's kind of hereditary, but my real dad smoked and drank, and he was an alcoholic, and I never did drink or smoke. So being an individualist has always been proud of. I get high on life, not on anything artificial. I want 100,000 away from a game. Oh, I didn't get it. 4-8, 10,000 away from a game. The rush of being able to play any game you have at any given time by just pushing the button is, you can't explain it to people. You know, it's something that you like, and it's fun, and it's enjoyable. I don't know why some people have the bug and some people don't, but I'm one of the ones with the bug. I wake up and do it every single day. Part of my life. Like an extension of my hand or something, I guess.
There's a joke that we have in the business, which is, how hard can this be? People look in the box. They see it, they'll be in a bar, they'll be with their friend, they'll look inside and say, oh, how hard could it be to build a pinball machine? And we like to just smile. We just smile.
Chicago is the pinball capital of the world. We make it here because the people who understand how to make it are here. The tooling is here. We live here. We need to have that fast turnaround. It's all in Chicago. I tell people that I've been in the pinball business for 61 years because I'm 61 years old. This is where my father started me. Understand that even today, with solid-state electronics, we have 3,500 pieces in a pinball machine, over half a mile of wire. There's a lot that goes into making one. There's more labor in a pinball machine, more man-hours than in a Ford Taurus, which is built not far from here. It's a progressive line. Each person does a little part of it and passes it along, much like automobiles, but by hand. The volume of the game business as a whole, coin-op business, is significantly down from what it was. 92, 93, there were 100,000 pinball machines a year made, and there were 4 or 5 different companies or brands. Today, we're the only company making pinball machines, and we like to strive to have 10% of what that market once was, and then we'd have a nice small business. If you drive a 1978 Super Beetle convertible, it's very cool, but that's nostalgic, and it's not a great car. If you have a new Beetle convertible, that's retro. It's a modern car that has some of the look and feel, the coolness of it, and it's retro. We don't make games from the 60s. We make games of today that are retro. We no longer talk about being the last pinball manufacturer, because that sounds like we're going to get out. We're the only pinball manufacturer, and we intend to remain in the pinball business.
Every game designer who's worth anything will tell you that what you're really trying to build is a carnival game. You're trying to build something that's easy to learn, easy to play, and hard to beat.
You want to create hooks in a game, to hook them in, to interest them, to keep them interested.
Destroy the saucer!
Something that's out there on the edge of their ability that they can see sometimes and achieve, less times, that keep them playing.
Super jackpot! You get that implanted in your head that you want to hear that.
This is Pavlov. We're teaching you that when you hear a thing in a game, it means something.
The best games are always the games that left you one shot away. Gee, if I had just had one more shot, I know I would have gotten it this time. I had 2 balls locked, and I just got that last ball locked. Because I know I did it last time, or I did it 2 games ago. I just need to do it one more time. One more time.
To design a pinball machine, basically you start with a theme. You then begin the process of how do I lay out an interesting pinball machine with the flippers and things that represents where I'm trying to go with all of this.
The right lane feeds back to this flipper.
We build working models of things, and then we play with it. But it tells us whether what we're doing is going to work or not work, or be fun or not fun. Okay, this shows how we mock up what we do, and then here's the final game. This is what the final version of the game looks like when it's finally produced. Each one of these games is a year of your life. In that year of your life, you always put your best effort forward to make the game fun, what you think will be fun, okay? And you don't always hit it. No game designer would lie to you and tell you they always hit it. You don't always hit it. The guy whose games I played is one of the legends of the business, Steve Ritchie.
Hi, my name's Steve Ritchie.
It's not so much what I wanted to be, it's what people said that I was going to be. They said that I was going to be a mad scientist in a toy factory, even in grade school, and that's what I am.
And I never thought that I would get to meet Steve Ritchie. It's awesome. I'm on cloud 9.
It's definitely an art. Just to know the science of it is nothing. You have to understand how the ball moves, but it's also curves and things that the ball does that make you feel satisfied. A nice sound, okay? You send a ball to a hole and it goes thunk, locks in, stays solid, you know, doesn't bounce out. Make a sound at the same time. That's art.
It is a work of art. I mean, being a programmer by trade, I can appreciate this is like a large 3D program to me. All event-driven, and as soon as an event happens, you can picture the electricity flowing through there and different things happening. I mean, for me, this is like a little mini world. So when the ball's bouncing around inside, it's having fun inside its own little world, and you're helping it along. Maybe that's why I like it, because I enjoy aquariums. The little fish in the tank having fun, the ball's having fun in here.
If you chart the history of pinball, you'll see things go in and out of style. Pinball always went through its growth spurts when it went from lights in the back box to score reels, from score reels to displays, from displays to alphanumerics, from alphanumerics to dot matrix.
Pinball lost a market of players because of their technologically enhanced games.
Video mode is a feature that allows me to play a video game within this pinball machine.
The machines went a little haywire with their toys and all their different things that they felt had to be on a game.
It's the biggest division among pinball players in my generation. Most of us would refuse to play the new, highly electronic pinball games.
They've made the game so complicated that 5% of the people that play them understand the rules.
I've always been into rules. I'm into board games, and I love strategy. So to me, it's about rules. It's about achievement. It's about goals. You start a game, and you start learning about a game that you've never played before, and you go, oh, I see. If I do this and this and this, I get one of those. And 3 of those gets me a multi-ball. I can do that. Piece of cake, you know. And then you do it 10 times and then you play 10 times in a row and you don't do it. And you're like, oh, I can do that. For instance, in Pirates, a very obvious strategy is to get time lock lit. You get time lock lit by shooting balls into the disc, up the left ramp, the ball will bounce around for 3 or 4 seconds while the post is up, then the post comes down and it still may bounce around, and all the while you'll complete these lights. You get the light to the end and that will light time lock. Once time lock is lit, I know that I'm good to go there. So then I get the ship multi-ball, which is the ship, I get the ship multi-ball 1 shot away from starting. So you shoot the ship, you shoot the ship, you shoot the ship will start to rock, and you know that when the ship is rocking, you're 1 shot away from starting that multi-ball. And if I succeed, I have a 4-ball multi-ball of Tortuga running and the ship multi-ball is 1 shot away. Then I try and shoot the ship with that 4th ball, starting that multi-ball, and I like that a lot because then I can try to lock balls back into the disc to get my multiplier up while I'm collecting jackpots and super jackpots, and I find that very satisfying. So that's sort of a low-level goal that I think anybody can achieve once they figure it out and put it together.
What we do is a business, and what we build is fun. It just happens to come in a box.
A pinball machine is a revenue-earning piece of equipment, like a slot machine. Money goes in, and an operator comes along and collects the money. The player is entertained. He can win a free game. He can be satisfied or have a great time for a short time, even with a little glory. The knocker goes off in a crowded bar. Hey, I did that. I made that go off, okay?
When you hear them cussing sometimes or trying to kick the game to get some action, and you know that you're getting the results that you want, and you see them putting more coins in it, you say, "Man, I made it."
Another quarter in the pinball, another way to lose. You put another quarter in the pinball, another way to lose.
There's the collectors, and then there's the players, and then there's the people that just like to talk pinball.
They are almost every kind of person you can talk about. I mean, everyone jokes about there's some sickness, there's some insanity.
I don't know if any of them are really cool, but it's kind of like a bit geeky thing is probably the way pinball is perceived by the outsiders.
How do you perceive pinball?
I'm an insider, so I think it's really cool.
Hello, we are from Tokyo, Japan. We are pinball lovers.
And then now it seems, almost like a definition of a nerd or a weird and marginal person to be caught playing pinball. But maybe there's something attractive about that.
I'm the Jim Morrison of pinball. They either love me or hate me.
I think it's great for pinballs. I think the pin geek is good.
I haven't met anybody like him before.
I'm not a businessman. I'm just a hack carrying around a camcorder.
All my DVDs here are $10. Now, I want to start with this one because it is very hard to find. I don't even know if anybody has this except me at this point, because this was 10 years ago. Who? I love pinball. I love the hobby. My main objective here is to document every pinball machine that is in existence up and running. I want to show this one. This is my biggest seller to date. It cost me $22 to make in gas. 96% of my ideas pan out to money because I have years of sales and marketing experience. Who would have even dreamed to tape video of a pinball show 10 years ago? I didn't know this stuff would sell. Did anybody else?
Then when you drain the ball, it kicks up over the switch. This relay disallows this switch, and then this truck switch.
And I could watch it over and over again myself
flipper coils for it.
if I had the time.
That was almost kind of weird.
I'm here to save a hobby that saved my life, because music has saved my life because I collect records all the time. I love music. I love the movie Tommy. That changed my life because it was music and it was about pinball. The arcades kept me going. I was pretty much raised in arcades because of divorce issues and just a mess. My whole life up till the past couple of years was just a nightmare. And now I'm getting recognition, you know, as this pin geek character, just this guy running around with a camcorder. Hold on, I gotta check my camcorder because I think I got a bad angle. I'm showing my butt right now, hold on. I'm single, and you gotta be, because if you have a family, forget it. I mean, you can't be married and have kids and do this. It will kill you. You know, you can't do it.
If you met the right woman, would you give up pinball for her?
Absolutely not.
I guess it will depend on what type of woman it is.
You want Pinball Fantasy?
Sure, that looks pretty cool.
What would make me happy? I'm Elton John at a baseball stadium by the show, or something that I can go in a glitter outfit, you know, and hop up on the stage and say, hey, I've arrived for the show. And guess what my ride is? It's this hot chick in leather pants, and I'm on a Harley, and in the back, she drops me off. And she goes, you're a pin geek. And I go, yeah. Elton John was the ultimate showman in the 70s, and I want to be like him. I want to be a showman. I might be Pinball's biggest fan, I really don't know. But it's just going out having fun, saving a game from being thrown in the trash and bringing it back. You could call some of us geeks, even me, because we're all into the game, you know? And maybe that's not the coolest thing, so, you know, but hey, we're having fun with it. You know, everybody tells me what to do. Everybody tells me to take these drugs, I should be in an institution, I should be doing this, I should have kids, I should be doing that. I get so much crap advice that basically I'd be dead and bankrupt if I listened to any of it. And, you know, I do my own thing. People need to slow down and get back to basics here and talk to each other. And, you know, there might not be all this fighting and war and shooting and, you know, whatever happened to just going into a bar like John Wayne, you know, somebody said something to you, you punch them out, and then you have a drink over it later. I've given up on mankind. We're all gonna die. I mean, it's, you know, it's inevitable. And the air's not getting any better anyway. But one person cannot save the world, I found that out. But I can try to save this industry and this hobby. I can do my best, I mean, you know. Yeah, I'm definitely misunderstood, you know.
Here's this landscape of things that are happening. And I can affect that change by the simple manipulation of pressing a button. And by pressing a button at the right time, that ball is going to be propelled into something that's going to hit something, knock something, do whatever. You are the person that is, in some ways, controlling your own destiny. I used to think that it was man versus machine. But I tended to back away and said, it's not really man against machine, it's man with machine. If I can sense the rhythm of that game, the tempo of that game, I want to be working in tandem with it. I'm not fighting it, not fighting against it, I'm working with it. You have to be in sync. You know, I want to give to that game, and it's going to give back to me.
I guarantee you it's chemically similar to that of athletes. When athletes, you know, get in the zone, they feel as though they're watching themselves, you know, run the ball down the field. It is transcendent.
Pinball reminds me of, like, dreaming, because, like, when I'm playing the game, it's like, I'm not really with, like,
reality. I'm just kind of watching this ball kind of float around. It's like being in some place where you don't really know what you're doing, but yet you're watching what you're doing and you're trying to concentrate on it. And it feels like a dream.
It really is a unique feeling to become one with the machine. So to tell that ball where it's going to go and have your fingers and your flippers and your shaking ability put that ball where it's supposed to go.
It's sort of a zen when you're sort of meditating and and that's all you're concentrated on is the pinball. You forget everything else.
It just feels like, you know, here's the flippers, and the more you get in the zone, it just feels like the flippers are together, and you can't lose the ball out the middle.
You've built it up, and now comes the big multi-ball, the one you've been trying to get for 20 games. And you play that for all it's worth, and you stretch it out, and you embellish it, and you let all the people that are watching know that, look at this person's just done a very difficult thing here. He must be special.
Uh-oh.
Of course, when you get to put your initials on, it's like, there I am, I own this game.
I put a lot of play time in on this machine, and I try to defend it. It's my home territory, so I try to make sure that people see my name in as many games as possible.
One particular day when I was playing, where I was just simply ahead of the machine. The machine couldn't keep up with me, and I was accumulating so many free games. And I could not leave because I did not want to lose these free games. And eventually, after about 3 or 4 hours, I had to go. So in a sense, there is a possibility you have the illusion that you've won. There is something inevitable about losing at pinball, and I think that's a blessing, because there is a feeling often when you're playing pinball that the machine decides when you need to go home. And if you're tired enough, you'll start playing poorly, and the machine notices that, and it wipes you out, and it sends you packing.
The object of play in pinball is a high score. If you score enough, you win a free game. The way to win is to control the ball, either with the flippers or by careful nudging of the entire machine.
Now you see a truly skilled pinball player, you realize it is a game of skill, not a game of chance.
When I started, we started with small flippers. You basically played, you know, gun and run and gun. Ball's coming down, boom. You just pound away, you just do it. I mean, it's pure adrenaline, it is pure reflex, it is the spontaneity of that reflex. Now, what you have are players who control the tempo of the game. I see it with my sons, in all honesty. I mean, there are times where I just stand back and I marvel at the fact that they have the ability that they have.
One of the ways that I've become a better player, and I think it's sort of the difference between how I approach a game of pinball and how our dad approaches a game of pinball. I look at a game, I try to find a weakness, and I try to exploit that weakness for my own game. Whereas, you know, my dad will sit and shoot a ramp over and over again for no points because the shot feels good. And it's like,
it's very serious. They train and they have training sessions.
This is a sport. You're going to work a sweat.
I've seen some players play where their entire body like floats up from the game.
You know, you're down there playing for 5 or 6 hours. To stand and stay focused that long, it's pretty draining.
I'm sore in my legs. I'm sore in my shoulders, underneath my arms, my calves. You want to build up those pinball muscles. I know it sounds crazy, but we are athletes.
I've always wanted to be the champion of the world in something. And then I had to figure out what it was going to be in. figured out there was going to be pinball.
And later on tonight, Rick Stella. He's been crowned the new pinball wizard of the world.
It was really in 1991, I think, Rick Stella became our first really recognized world champion.
Rick Stella, 32. Sunnyvale, California. World's best pinball player. Well, I don't really have a job. I was the same person I always was before I got all my publicity. Just a guy that went out and liked playing the machines, and you know, nobody thought that much of me, you know. They thought, you know, I was pretty much, you know, just some weird guy that was out doing stuff by himself, and just out of touch with life. I started playing when I was 10 years old, and when I was 15, I decided to dedicate my life to it, become the best in the world. I practice 3 to 4 hours a day on the average, and that's almost every day. I miss about 1 day a month. It's addictive. You start thinking about when you're going to get your next one and where it's going to be from and what it's going to be like. Yeah, it's the whole thing. Pinball has gotten a lot more complicated nowadays. And it's becoming more and more unclear to me how people are getting big scores.
I was trying to see if my name was still on it too, but mine had actually fallen off of the number 1 through 25 list. Besides, all the world really wants to know is who's in the top 10.
Yeah, sometimes you see it all when you're playing really well. I can see a ball going toward the out lane at 12 inches away and know that I'm to do something right away. And I'll nudge the machine, and when the ball gets there, it just does this thing off the post and rolls in. Like I knew I could see it.
But I watched him. He does the routine where he's like, you know, just, you know, like a mime or something like this, sizing up the game and tips it a little bit, and he respects the game. He wipes it off with whatever. And he's got this own routine that's only his. Nobody can do it. But the body English and everything, he's just one with the game, and I want to do what he's doing.
The way I play, I've got this dance thing going on, you know, and I could be like on one hand and one heel, and then I'm making my decision how to hit that machine from that odd pose. But I would be in that spot because the way I play, it was determined that that's where I was supposed to be before that ball was there. And then I'd pop it and change my stance and watch the ball roll in and play the ball. And I'd be amazed, no matter how many times I'd see something odd like that, each time that I would see it, I would be amazed. I would hate to be 95 years old and look back on my life and say, you know, what I really wanted to do was play pinball, but gee, my mom told me that I should get a career. Pinball makes me feel very special because I have pinball as my own world, always something that's there for me. Pinball is a prize, a diamond in the rough that I have personally shined. Pinball is something that's done something for me that I had to discover for myself that was already there in a world that gives us all kinds of input about stuff that we don't even want to hear other people's input about. The input I got about pinball was that it was something negative. And I knew that all that input was mistaken. Pinball is a world of special rules and unique opportunities and entertainment coming out of seemingly nowhere. I would even go as far to say as that I am special because of pinball.
always played pinball, and my friends and I were always into it, but we never had any idea that there was pinball competitions. Wow, we've got to go to these things, and I'm gonna go and annihilate everybody. And we went to our first show, and your heart would be pounding, and you'd be shaking a little and just so nervous that it was really difficult to play. You'd choke, you wouldn't do well, and you have to wait a year till you get back to try it again, you know?
There's like 10 women and, 200 men, but pay no mind to it.
It's not as popular with girls as with boys, but we can play just as well.
There's a strong mental component to remain calm and in control. The best players will never do something that affects the ball unless they do it for a purpose. And ball control doesn't just mean always catching the ball and holding it. It also means putting the ball where you want it so that you know where it's going to be next, not just where it is right now.
People in the A division, it's just amazing to watch them play. Like they do stuff that sometimes you would think was not possible.
And I think that it's special to see incredible play because it combines chess with true physical interactivity and people who have, the ability to hold their concentration, have the reflexes, know how to dissect a play field and the objectives and the rules into something that is as elegant as watching a ballet.
I would say most of my vacation time is pinball shows. My mother lives with me in New Jersey. And I tell her I'm going to these shows, she said, go ahead and enjoy yourself. So you gotta have some fun, so go ahead and enjoy yourself. 6 million! And basically, I'm a synthetic organic chemist. Actually, working on trying to find a treatment for Alzheimer's disease. 50 million! I like chess, I like to solve math puzzles. I have to wait. I like bowling. Then I'm a big rail fan, so I like to ride subways. I really haven't made it to finals and I made a tournament in a while. I think I did it once in, I think it was 99, but I got eliminated, unfortunately. So I'm hoping to, to actually win a major tournament.
A storm is brewing along the horizon. Clouds getting darker, but my sun is still rising. Surprising. Villagers flooding cities and towns. Stand with the strong and I can read.
The storm is my nickname. I came up with it myself.
To rectify, electrify your brain. Eyes closed.
I was born and raised in Manhattan. I started playing pinball when I was 4 years old. So pinball and I kind of grew up together. I want to win and I want to beat the best.
I don't go day to day thinking that I'm second best. It makes it much easier to live thinking that I'm the best and I just haven't had my moment.
What's really important when you play pinball at the world championship level is to get your mentality straight, to be sharp and to have a killer instinct.
Get in there!
Because everyone is so good that you need the mental edge.
I deliberately pump myself up. to bring that killer instinct up to the highest level. So that's where it's a storm, because you got two totally conflicting things. You got this placid Buddha meditative state, and you have this devilish fire screaming madman state going on at the same time. And if you can balance those two things, you'll be unbeatable, and sometimes I am. And I feel like an outsider. I feel kind of like someone that they all think they're better than. And I know for a fact that I can beat them, and I haven't proved that yet. There is enough of a skill element that the best players always rise to the top, but there's enough of a luck element that everyone should have their day, and I haven't had mine yet.
One of the gentlemen here, Neil Schatz, has been in the finals 3 or 4 different times. And it's like, if there is a pinball god, maybe they're cursing him because he's second place or third place, and he's so great, he deserves to win finally. And so if I were to pick someone to win, well, I'd pick me, but if I were to pick 2 people to win, I'd pick him.
I've taken second at Papa. I've taken second in Pinburg, and second place in Arizona, second place at the Pinathon in Roseville, second at Expo, I believe, 3 times in A, and then I won the B division. I started the competitive circuit in 1992, and then when I went to that first tournament, I took second behind Rick and got a book for it, and then I realized I was hooked at that point. Sometimes I've made mental mistakes, and then it's really tough to deal with. It's frustrating, but other times I think I've played to the best of my ability, not made any mistakes. And it's that knowledge of knowing that pinball can deal you bad breaks and it's no one's fault that I think helps me deal with a lot of those situations. But sure, yeah, it's tough. But I enjoy just the thrill of competition, so I think that just keeps me coming back regardless of the result.
What can we take this morning, guys?
Trying to last-minute qualify here. And another thing, too, is just happening to have my competitive career when, you know, some true giants of the game were also in their prime. I mean, Bowen Cairns, Keith Elwin, Lyman Sheets Jr. Absolutely, I think those guys are simply better players.
Maybe none better than Lyman Sheets.
Lyman Sheets.
Lyman Sheets.
Lyman Sheets.
He's the best pinball player in the world.
I'm a game programmer. I program pinball machines, work with designers, and basically make the game do all of what it does. Well, I was in college. It was around 1986. You know, being in college, it's kind of low pressure, fun environment, and it just, I don't know, I just kind of took to it as a very inexpensive form of entertainment. It was about 5 years after that I started competing. There are like a couple techniques I try and, you know, teach at first. The easiest thing is to just hit the flippers individually, you know, just at separate times. I don't know, you know, if people, I see a lot of people, you know, they hit both flippers at the same time. The other is, it's pretty easy to just not do anything. In terms of when the ball's coming down, I mean, I always like try and stress ball control to people who, you know, when they first play, try and get the balls under control. Put multi-ball here. I'm actually going to try and get one of these balls over the other flipper so I can make a shot, score some points. Sort of like that.
Lyman Sheets, never had seen him before. And I watched this person methodically do a passing shot over, make the shot, kick down, go up, passing shot over.
So like that, bounce the ball over to the other flipper, now it's under control just
and
because.
I just watched in disbelief. I said, this is amazing. This is incredible. I never thought of playing pinball that way.
don't even know nothing about it.
You said pinball? Pinball? Play pinball?
World Pinball Championship.
Here we are, World Pinball Championships.
I didn't even know they were having a pinball championship here.
Papa was actually started by Steve Epstein in New York City. He did the first 6 of them.
What exactly is Papa?
PAPA is the Professional Amateur Pinball Association.
And then Kevin got the rights to take it over. And then he built this place. This is about 30,000 square feet of space for about 350 or so pinball machines. It was built in 2004. It was finished about 1 day before the actual tournament. We had the tournament, everyone came here, everyone had a great time, and within 1 week, there was a hurricane named Ivan that came up the East Coast, and the little creek in front of here overflowed its banks.
Well, the flood was 5 feet high in some places, and I was out here when it was happening, and there was nothing to be done about it. It destroyed 240 pinball machines and about a dozen video games. All of the machines were taken out front and basically smashed for parts.
It was heartbreaking. It was everything we had just finished was washed away. We call it the graveyard. You never know when you need a part.
I was just frustrated and wanted to get the place cleaned up so I could decide if I wanted to try again. It did prove possible to clean up and rebuild.
Kevin rebuilt it and purchased all the machines within a year, and we got it open again. About 1 day before it was ready to go last year, we were ready to go again.
It's what I want to do, and I had barely really gotten started. It seemed silly to only do it once.
You can have a great game one game, next game you'll look like you never played pinball before in your life.
Couple of people who are really high quality players, very focused when they play, tough to beat. You know, when they're having an off day, that's the day that you hope you have your on day, because they don't have off days very often.
Most players will put up huge games just because of the situation. They rise to the occasion.
Anything can happen. One slip and the ball goes, and that's it.
Incomparable Lyman Sheets.
It certainly presented an entertainment option that was awfully compelling. As much as pinball was sort of man against machine, your ability to catch and move that ball around and hit those targets, video offered a completely new dimension.
In 1980, you could not possibly build enough video games to saturate the market. It was impossible.
Little by little, the interest in playing the pinballs went down, and of course the videos came up.
And all of a sudden, our income doubled and tripled overnight.
Then Pac-Man hit. I couldn't believe how much money they'd take in a weekend. It just blew me away. And then the pinball set, they're almost forlorn looking, you know, like, come play me.
When video came in, it was such a big deal, and all the people that had been playing pinball got squeezed out.
What can you do in a video game? You can't see anything except what's on the screen. But when you're playing a pinball game, you're playing actually a piece of equipment that you can move around and control.
Video games you could play a few times, learn the patterns, and beat them endlessly, and beat them into submission. Pinball machines, you can't do that. You can only go so far, and then it just dominates you. So you always lose in the end.
There's not a closed-end loop here. It's a pinball machine. There's a beginning, but it's endless. A video game, I got to the end. I finished it. It took me, 42 months and 10 hours a day, but I finished the game. It is now done. A pinball machine, you're never done.
The real backbreaker came when home video finally hit the marketplace, when you could go out and buy your Atari console where you could pop in the various games and play right on your set. Now kids weren't collecting in one spot and having that social interaction. They were now breaking down into sub-little groups of either myself playing at home or me and my buddy playing at home, but it really spelled the end of certainly the pinball era.
It was widely believed at the time that video games had usurped pinball and there was no longer a need for pinball whatsoever. And then one day people got bored with playing all these video games and the industry imploded on itself. Pinball was back on the map again.
After a decade of decline, flippers are flapping, bumpers are thumping, pinball is bouncing back.
The last coming of pinball would have been 1992, 93. In those years, we built, somewhere around 120, 130,000 pinball machines that year.
I've had a steady connection to pinball for the last 50 years. I had a lot of life tied up in it. It was sort of an identity that I grew, and I didn't separate very well the identity of me as the Broadway Arcade and me as Steve Epstein. It took me quite a few years after we closed the arcade to really, I had a pretty big lung funk, to be honest with you. It wasn't a monetary thing that, I lost a big income. It was really a presence and just the daily interaction of the world that I had at my doorstep that I knew I was never going to have again. It was a life-defining moment that saddens me and still saddens me, actually. That whole 70s into the 80s, into the early 90s was a time when, the magic of pinball was out there. The magic of pinball still exists. It just has to reconnect with the people. I go out now and I see some of my old friends and I play pinball, and that's nice, but having the Broadway Arcade was a unique and incredible experience that just never going to happen for me again.
I think one of the most difficult things that anybody might encounter in their lives is to be somewhat helpless in the inevitability of an outcome. So if you look at the downside of it all, pinball deserves a better fate than what it currently has.
In truth, it isn't a big part of our culture anymore. In truth, you might not want to print this, but pinball's slowly dying. It is an American invention. It has been a big part of American pop culture. But I'm not sure that anyone will care in 10 to 15 years. That's my thoughts, but I don't know.
Were pinball not to survive, the world would continue, but a little bit of the fabric of life would be gone.
I don't know if we can get to a point where there is a precipitous need and desire by the general population for pinball. I think that there is a fleeting sense of one's naivete and innocence that games bring out. And as we get older, for many of us, we step away from doing those things that gave us joy when we were younger. And I think that that loss of innocence is tough. And that is the tragedy of it, because there is still something that is just marvelously entrancing about pinball, and everybody should try it at some point in time.
Pinball is a game that adds more to life. Yes, I think it is definitely more than just a game. It is such a unique experience that you cannot replicate anywhere else. I mean, you have a universe in a box on the glass, and every time you enter that universe, it's different. You never know what you're going to have. You never know what you're going to experience. But whatever that experience is, the frustration, anxiety, the pleasure of making shots and scoring, I mean, it's all part of what life really is. And I equate it much how life is. You never know what you're going to get around the next corner, but you got to go and be involved in it. I still get calls. People still walk by that, they look for it even to this day. I mean, it's very strange, very strange. was a great 35 years.